in general, who owns the education system?
Government?
Yeah. So if they own the education system,
Ah.
it's like a
Uh-huh.
disincentive for them to teach you
Uh,
how to do things where you won't pay as much tax.
this is the Ellie
And Lee, show.
show.
Okay, so thanks for joining us on chapter 2 of this book. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll get right into it. The first quote that we found was, "The amount of money you make isn't as important as the amount of money you keep."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think having control of your spending allows you to be in a
Mm-hmm.
better position to take, financial opportunities that may come.
But like the idea of having control of your spending is
Yeah.
a bit ambiguous.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's a concept, but you have to obviously
Mm.
maybe learn more about budgeting and stuff like that so you can have the control.
Ah, okay.
The thing is, if you
Mm-hmm.
know what your money is doing, like you know what's coming in, what's going out, then you
Mm.
are in a better situation to make the decisions of how you want to spend your money.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, and then also, what I think is that learning how to keep and also
Mm-hmm.
grow what you have is
Mm-hmm.
both difficult and worthwhile.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, because like I think even if you are in a position where you have more money than what you're spending, the
Mm-hmm.
easy thing is to save it, and it is good to save, but then it's a lot more
Okay.
difficult to try and think, oh, how can I invest and grow this money?
Mm. That's true.
Yeah. What did you think?
So I think the statement is true.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the winner of lottery,
Yeah.
some of them just ended up being broke again.
Yeah. Well, I think that's because, they don't, when you get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have the financial intelligence, as the book was saying, if you
Oh yeah,
don't
that's
know
true.
where your money's going or what you should do with
Mm-hmm.
it, then like it doesn't matter how much you get, you're just gonna mismanage it and end up in the same position.
That's why I think it's the perfect example for this quote. Because
Okay.
like they gained money, but like they didn't know how to keep it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they again being broke again.
Because that's the thing. Like, if you look at the quote, they made a lot
Mm-hmm.
of money from winning the lottery, but
Mm-hmm.
like
But
like you
they
said,
didn't have ability to keep the money.
yeah.
So
So they probably
yeah.
just spent it on nice, expensive
Mm-hmm.
things, but then the result is they
Mm-hmm.
ended up broke again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like the word keep here,
Mm-hmm.
the money you keep is not keeping in your bank account.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's like if I just put my money in the bank account, it's not going to do anything.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, um, obviously, if the point is to keep more money, then having it sitting in the bank is just you'll still have the money, but then you have to
Mm-hmm.
consider inflation and how much of a return you're actually getting on that when it's sitting in the bank.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's like right now I don't really earn money or don't have money to keep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure that soon I'll have. So yeah, I think it's better to study how to manage the money
Yeah,
first
that's true.
before.
I think like if you've taken the time to gain or just like understanding how to budget and stuff like that goes a long way because then, when you start getting that money, you can see, okay, I'm paying this much in my expenses, I'm getting this much of money, then let's try
Mm-hmm.
and, keep it on the up where you're not getting into too much debt or anything like that. If you're enjoying this video so far,
Please like and subscribe. So for the second quote,
mm-hmm,
if intelligence is what solves problem, then financial intelligence is what solves money problems.
yeah,
I'm emotional, so like as soon as I read this quote, I felt kind of sad because I only heard the word financial intelligence
yeah,
only recently. So
okay,
I didn't know there are something like that. Maybe it's just me who didn't really look out to search for like financial books or help, but
mm-hmm,
when I think about the high school years,
Yeah.
No one talks about like financial thing. Like especially I was related to math and science field,
Mm, mm,
so like not at all with economy, and I felt like just studying hard and then getting a good job will solve the problem, but
yeah.
obviously it's not. So it was
Mm,
interesting view.
yeah. I think the interesting thing I was thinking about while reading this chapter is that
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it,
Yeah.
obviously the government wants tax, right? It
Mm-hmm.
needs tax to operate all its different departments and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in general, who owns the education system?
Government.
Yeah. So if they own the education system,
Ah.
it's like a
uh-huh.
disincentive for them to teach you
Uh,
how to do things where you won't pay as much tax. So one of the largest resources of tax is from income tax. So obviously you want people just working at a job paying their income tax, and that way, the government keeps a lot of its money. But if you're teaching people how to, get tax-free investments or how to manage their finances so that they maybe not paying as much tax, then you know it doesn't end up in the government's favor. But
but
it's just
like,
a theory. It's not
mm,
really a
yeah,
factual
because
thing.
if that's the case, why just make people being a rich and then get taxes out of it? Let's say I earn $3,000 per month and then
Mm-hmm.
need to pay 15% of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
If I get rich, if I earn $300,000 per month
Yeah.
and only need to pay 5% of taxes, like obviously the later one, the government will gain more money out of it. So,
But it's dependent on where your income comes from, because a lot of so again, from reading the book and also watching a bit of YouTube,
mm-hmm.
um, the government obviously wants businesses to do well because that creates
Mm,
job and it
yeah,
provides for the economy.
that'll
So
be
they
more
have tax,
beneficial.
yeah, but they have tax incentives for those sort of things. So actually, that
Mm,
person earning 300,000, the way they could move their finances around could avoid a lot of the
uh,
taxes that they would pay on straight income.
maybe it's just like me being simple, then change the law.
Well, that's what some people want to do, but it disincentivizes business. Because the thing is, if you
Okay.
get taxed so much for operating and running a business, then you might as well just go to another country where the laws are easier.
It reminds me of Venezuela because
Hmm.
I heard that that country was so rich from the
Yeah.
oil and like some
Ah,
other
okay.
things, then their welfare was really good.
Hmm.
But the problem was that they drove taxes a lot from the rich. So they
Ah, okay.
started to move out from the country, and then that's
Hmm.
kind of what causes the country go bankrupt.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like it's also that if you're gonna have like a good welfare system,
Mm-hmm.
then it's also important that the people that use it are not too
Mm-hmm.
many
Mm-hmm.
and that the country is doing well financially.
Mm. Okay.
Because the thing is, if you want a balance where a good majority of people are
Mm-hmm.
contributing to the
Yeah.
welfare, but not
Mm-hmm.
too many are taking out. Because then
That's
what ends
true.
up, yeah, because then what ends up happening is if too many people are taking out and not enough are putting in, then the government itself will get into debt.
Then it'll be better to make people give a financial knowledge at the school so
Mm.
that they can do at least average.
Yeah, but then to a certain degree, what would be the point of the government? It's a negative view on the government, but they want to keep their departments nice and
Mm-hmm.
big and open. If less people require financial aid or
Mm-hmm.
social security, then those departments need to close.
No, I don't think so. I disagree with that.
If everyone can provide for themselves, then what's the point of needing social security?
That's ideal.
Yeah,
In real life, I think still a government is needed.
yeah, but I'm saying it'll be to a lesser degree, and most governments that I've seen don't like downsizing. They like to be big, which is not the
Mm.
best, I think.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Still disagree, but I'll think more why I disagree with that idea.
Oh, okay.
So let's move on.
So, yeah, the way I thought about it is the same way you study and gain experience and become an expert at something. Doing this for your finances would also help in the long run. The thing is that you study hard and you work at your job so that you can be an expert and earn well, a good salary, right? But then the thing is, something that's equally important being your finance, people don't tend to read up or study on it.
Because to a certain degree, the common thoughts in the society kind of plays in a role. Because like some people or like some values are saying money isn't too important.
Oh, the thing is that they say money isn't too important, yet whenever they see rich people, it's like, oh, I want to be like that. So
No. As we discussed in the last video, you talked about how some people think about the rich takes money from the poor. But like from people. So like maybe the perception of the rich in society is envious, but like somewhat not the best, because it feels like, oh, they're taking money from people like us, or like they are evil. So that's why people are like, yeah, those people who just say money, 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 they are wrong and we shouldn't look after them. So those kind of things.
Okay, but the thing is, like, you might say that those people are wrong, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't invest in gaining knowledge on finances.
No. That's why I thought before thinking or like learning about investment was wrong. Because like even investment sounds like just taking indirect money from other normal people. For the stock market, in my opinion, it seems fine to invest in a long term. But like those people who does like short term of investment to just get the money, like those kind of stock market investor, they only care about the money, but don't really care about the future of the company or things like that.
Why is it wrong? Because the thing is, like, flipping stocks, you're not really putting the emphasis on growing the company, but it's a high risk, high reward sort of thing. Because like,
but like in a bigger picture.
In a bigger picture? What about
because
the bigger picture?
Some people need to lose the money anyway.
A lot of people do lose money. That's the thing.
Yeah, like 90% of people. And
but that's why it's high risk, high reward.
They're not putting efforts to make world better, but drawing the money from others by luck.
But where does the money come from? How does it get made? How do their stocks go up? It's a rather technical term, and I don't know how the exact workings of it.
Yeah, but it seems immoral.
Yeah, but if you don't understand the way it works, then you're just casting that judgment from a blind eye. It seems immoral, that's the thing. But, the thing is, if it's legal, and like it's
legal,
not...
but morally wrong.
Okay, but in what way? They taking the risk.
Yeah, doesn't mean that it's right.
And how are they harming someone else? They taking a risk on a company of whether or not that company will do well, and then they get the benefit from it.
That's more about long-term investment.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So the last point I wanted to make was that most people want to be rich or financially free, but don't take the time to study up and gain financial experience.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's like you look at celebrities and stuff like that, and you say, oh, I want to be like that, I want to have that kind of life, but then you're not willing to put in the effort to reach that point. Yeah,
true.
Okay.
Or maybe they did put an effort, but simply didn't have talent.
Didn't have talent, or didn't want to persevere through it?
Talent.
Okay.
Can be talent, can be that.
Please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps us out.
Thanks for watching. See you.